Picture this. You get home and there's bad news about someone you love. The dishes are piling up. You push through a brutal workout anyway. Then, late in the evening, a big work opportunity drops in your lap. Exciting, but also a lot of pressure. That was one day. And every single one of those moments triggered stress. But here's what's strange. Some of them left you feeling drained. Others left you feeling sharp. They were all stress. So why did they feel so different? And more importantly, what if the goal was never to eliminate stress at all? What if the goal was to find your perfect dose of it? Let's be honest, stress deserves some of its bad reputation. Chronic stress is linked to heart disease, type 2 diabetes, depression, and cognitive decline. It's the one thing science agrees definitively suppresses your immune system. And globally, stress-related conditions are staggering. The American Psychological Association reported that 37% of adults worldwide felt stressed on a daily basis in 2025. And job-related stress alone costs U.S. employers an estimated $300 billion every year in lost productivity, absenteeism, and healthcare. So the fear of stress is not irrational. The problem is that we've been fighting the wrong battle. Because chronic stress, the kind that never switches off, is genuinely harmful. But that is only one kind. As physiologist Julie Vashku at Masaryk University in the Czech Republic puts it, stress is constantly demonized in the media. It's always, you have to fight it. But the story isn't that simple. Here's the biology, stripped down. When your brain senses a threat, it triggers a cascade within milliseconds. Your sympathetic nervous system fires adrenaline. Heart rate climbs, breathing quickens, blood rushes to where it's needed most. Then cortisol floods in, redirecting your energy reserves to handle whatever's ahead, while your immune system primes itself for potential injury. Once the threat passes, the parasympathetic nervous system takes over, the brake pedal, slowing the heart rate and returning your body to baseline. The entire system is elegant, precise, and designed to keep you alive. Seen this way, stress isn't damage. It's a metabolic switch, a resource reallocation. And if you understand that it's helping you survive, not harming you in the moment, you can work with it instead of against it. Here's where it gets genuinely interesting, because not all stressors do the same thing beyond the basic fight or flight response. They each activate different extra pathways. Take sleep deprivation. One bad night, sleep restricted to just 4 hours, has been shown in research to significantly reduce insulin sensitivity by the next morning. Over time, that repeated disruption raises your risk of type 2 diabetes and metabolic disorders. Now, compare that with exercise. A hard workout triggers the same cortisol and adrenaline spike as a poor night of sleep, but simultaneously raises levels of a molecule called AMP, which fires up pathways that improve insulin sensitivity, build stronger mitochondria, and generate heat shock proteins that repair damaged muscle tissue. Same stress hormone response, completely different downstream outcome. This idea that the type of stressor determines its final effect goes all the way back to the 1970s, when endocrinologist Hans Selye introduced the concept of eustress, or good stress. He argued that eustress and its opposite, distress, activate the same core physiology, but eustress causes far less biological damage. Studies since have backed this up. Even good stressors have limits. This was understood 500 years ago by Paracelsus, the father of toxicology, who observed that the dose makes the poison. Even water can kill you in extreme quantities. Stress is no different. For exercise, the World Health Organization recommends 150 to 300 minutes of moderate activity weekly. But research tracking around 55,000 adults over 15 years found a sharper sweet spot, running 1.6 to 32 kilometers weekly at a relaxed pace of under 9.6 kilometers per hour was associated with a 19% lower risk of death from any cause. Push beyond that intensity and mileage, and the benefit diminished, with extreme exercise even raising cardiovascular risk. The same principle applies to heat. Regular sauna sessions at around 75 degrees Celsius, lasting 10 to 45 minutes, are associated with reduced dementia risk. But temperatures above 100 degrees Celsius were found to double dementia risk in a long-term study of nearly 14,000 people followed over 39 years. The message? There is a biological sweet spot. Not too little, not too much. The dose is everything.
Now here's the most powerful piece, and the one most people completely overlook. Even when you can't control the type or the dose of a stressor, you can change how your body responds to it through your mindset. This traces back to a 1908 experiment, now called the Yerkes-Dodson law, in which mice navigated mazes faster under moderate electrical stimulation. More stress improved performance, until the threshold was crossed, and it didn't. The principle in humans, moderate arousal sharpens attention and accelerates decision-making. But here's the modern twist. Psychologist Jeremy Jameson at the University of Rochester showed that reframing a stressor literally changes your hormonal chemistry. In his GRE study, students who were taught to view stress as a useful signal rather than a threat scored higher on the actual graduate school exam months later. Why? When you adopt what Jameson calls a challenge mindset, your body releases more testosterone relative to cortisol. Testosterone counteracts some of cortisol's harmful effects and helps you return to baseline much faster. The exact same stressor, framed differently, produces a measurably different hormonal outcome. And it doesn't stop there. Research also shows that purposefully exposing yourself to manageable, voluntary discomfort, a concept called stress inoculation, remodels the brain over time. The prefrontal cortex, hippocampus, and amygdala all adapt. Future stressors become easier to handle. Your recovery time shortens.
So here's what the science is actually telling you. The goal isn't a stress-free life, it's a well-dosed stress life. Type, dose, and mindset. Those are your three levers. Exercise over Netflix. The hard project that stretches you over the comfortable one that bores you. The meeting you're nervous about over the one where you're just going through the motions. Stress is sometimes described as fire. It can cook your food or burn your house down. The only question is whether you know how to tend the flame. Next time something stresses you out, before you try to escape it, pause and ask, is this the kind that builds me? Am I at the right dose? And is this a threat I'm running from or a challenge I'm growing through? Because the answer to those three questions may matter far more than you think. If this shifted how you see stress, leave a comment with one stressor in your life you're going to reframe as a challenge this week. I'd genuinely like to know. See you in the next one.